the way you rolled up on me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Will you take me on a trip? Always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right, but when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind. Cause something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're going different directions. Let's go where we were, when no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. If you love me just like you say you do, don't kill the good. If you kill him, you're gonna kill us too. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stare, the way you rolled up on me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Will you take me on a trip? Always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right, but when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind. Cause something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're going different directions. Let's go where we were, when no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, If you love me just like you say you do, don't kill the good. If you kill him, you're gonna kill us too. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stare, the way you wrote it for me, yeah, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed.
Welcome back, everybody, from A to B. My name is Bianca, and I am a life and business coach. I have a huge focus on female empowerment, and also, unfortunately, have a lot of experience firsthand with narcissistic abuse at the hands of family members, friends, work colleagues, and just happen to have been in a very narcissistic relationship as well. So we started this channel, for those of you who are new to it, we started this channel to raise awareness on narcissistic abuse. We're particularly focused on covert narcissists, really, and the tactics that they use, mental and emotional abuse, because we feel like it's really not spoken about a lot. And plus, when I actually finally left my narcissistic relationships and went on my journey to healing, it was really YouTube and the women on there that I found super inspiring and super helpful with their stories. So this is us paying forward to you. You want to do an intro?
Yeah, of course. So hi everybody, my name is Aynur. I'm a life and narcissistic recovery coach. So what I do is I help women and men that have come out of narcissistic relationships to heal and to rebuild their lives again. And just like Bianca, unfortunately, I've been in a few really abusive narcissistic relationships. So coming out of them and learning what they was, how I healed, and I really wanted to share that information with everybody and help other people do the same like I did. So here we are, me and Bianca, trying to spread as much awareness as possible and help as many people as possible on YouTube now.
Yeah, exactly. Spreading awareness, saving our little part of the world. And just like putting a different face to narcissistic abuse, so to speak, as well, because I don't think, like, even on YouTube now, there aren't many really vibrant, energetic people speaking about narcissism, because the effects of narcissistic abuse is so deep. And when you're kind of earlier on, I guess, in your healing journey, sometimes it's harder to get back to what your personality was. So for us, it was really important as well to show that there is another side to narcissistic abuse, and there is another face to it, and the face, hopefully looks like yours and makes you feel less alone and less ashamed, because there's a lot of misplaced shame around narcissistic abuse, and more empowered, because we're all about empowerment. So today, obviously, our topic is from surviving to thriving, which I'm hugely excited about, to be honest, because I think, it is exciting, isn't it? It's like always talking about like how we're kind of like abused, and all of the things that actually sometimes still quite embarrassing to talk about. Like today we can get to talk about, yeah, you know what did rock bottom look like for us, and what does it look like now thriving, you know, sometime on from those situations. So what did you think about, when we had the topic from surviving to thriving? Like, what did surviving bring up in you, like in a vision? Do you get what I
mean? Just trying to get through days, like just trying to get through each day and survive the day is what was coming up for me. Basically that, just trying to survive, trying to stay alive, I guess. Mentally, like, I would say, I know it sounds extreme, but basically trying to stay alive is what comes up for me. B, what about you?
Yeah, definitely, like survival. It was like a brutal image. Do you know what I mean? Of a very broken and a very disempowered woman. Definitely, when I think of like what that looked like. So I think people need to understand that when you leave a narcissistic relationship, you're leaving with nothing, and not just in the sense of like no physical possessions. Like some people it's that, some people it's like financially abused, or you know, that person was nothing physically, but also you have nothing in terms of your personal attributes and your normal characteristics. So it's like you're not leaving with a sense of who you are. You're just leaving because it's too much to stay now. Do you get what I mean? So it's not you're leaving by choice, you're leaving by force. When you by force in life, that's hard enough anyway. Then to add to that you're still addicted to that person because of the trauma bond, ruminating and overthinking time, you're very, very clear on everything to do with them, like how you feel about them, how you kind of how you would have liked things to be, and all these type of things. You're very clear about that. But it's like anything that's helpful to you, you're not clear about. You're not clear that that's very abusive. You're not clear that actually could have been the death of you. You're not clear about all of these things until many months later. So you're leaving, you know, clear about how you feel in a positive way, but somewhat clear that it's destroying you. You know that you don't know who you are anymore. Stripped of literally like all of your identity. You know something needs to change in order for you to get out of this feeling. You've got no idea what that is. And you're just left with you. And not only are you just left with kind of you, and you're without that family member, or you're without that partner, or whoever it is for you, your friend, your work. But whatever future you thought was going to well with those people is also gone. So it's death upon death upon death is what comes up for me when you think about surviving a narcissistic relationship, because the relationship's dead. Everything that you knew that you were is dead. Everything that you were going to have is dead. Maybe all of your resources are dead. The way you look, dead. Like, do you get what I mean? It's everything. There's nothing about you at that time means life. But like you said, you can get through a day. So it's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Like, I don't think there's any worse place that you can possibly. It is worse. Points of time of that are worse than losing a loved one. Worse. Because you lose every single loved one when you're stripped of your identity, because you lose the ability to feel in a particular way. So you don't have a connection to anyone. Not your parents, not your sister, no one has the same impact on you. You know what? Maybe except for children. There's something about children that no matter what state you're in, they seem to be able to bring you back to some type of like normality. Do you get what I mean? Like you've got nephews, you've got nieces. There's something about them that's so pure. Even in the darkest times, you can still find something to laugh about what they're doing. But if they're not a child, or for some people a pet, it's not going to happen. So even the people that you love, you're looking at and you're thinking, am I ever going to feel the way that I feel to you again? Because I don't trust myself. I don't trust anyone right now. So I don't know if you're in my corner anymore. I don't know if anyone's in my corner anymore. I don't know what's going on. So it literally is just like massive bereavement, isn't it?
Definitely. And I would definitely be. And I would say along with that, a lot of mental health issues as well. Like, you know, a lot of people suffer with PTSD, CPTSD, you know, a lot of depression, anxiety, rumination. So many mental things are happening to you, and also in your body, your hormones. You know, it's a lot of physical things going on with you. Some people get really, really ill. I know me personally, you know, it always comes out in my body. I always get really sick, or I get really ill, or like, so it is a lot going on at the same time, you know. So it's a lot, but what we're going to discuss is things that are going to hopefully help people get through that stage. And there's things you can do to push through and to get yourself through that. But yeah, you have to, you know, we have to come to terms with how bad it can be for someone, because it's almost like when it comes to mental and emotional abuse, just because someone hasn't hit you or physically harmed you, that the effects can't be as bad. But sometimes those mental effects are so bad that it's almost like someone has, you know, physically assaulted you. That's how bad you can feel. So yeah, I guess that's why we put so much emphasis on the mental and the emotional abuse being.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, and for us, maybe, you know, we're in a different place now, and there is always that tendency to want to rush to, and guys, this is where we are now. But I definitely know, for me, it was super helpful to hear that I wasn't the only person going through those situations. Like, there were some things that were happening. If we're talking like mental illness side of it now, we're talking about anxiety, CPTSD. I never even knew what CPTSD was. Do you get what I mean? I never knew it was a thing. Every time I heard about PTSD, we're talking about like people who've come out of war, got PTSD. Do you get what I mean? They've killed people. They've watched people be killed. People have died at their feet. And imagine narcissistic, psychological, and emotional abuse is that bad that you can get the same mental illness, but complex PTSD now, from leaving a relationship with an emotional and mental manipulator. Because you see, some of the tactics that they use will be similar to those that you use with war criminals. So, you know, like if people find people spying in a country, and then they use all these things to break them down, the interrogation, their like gaslighting, their projection, they're depriving them of sleep. All of these things happen to you when you're around or in relationship with narcissists. Do you know what I mean? I mean, even like, you know, your parents, yeah, maybe you might not be living with them, but the things they do in terms of like calling you random times of night whenever they want to, you know, like, or they kind of cancel things at the last minute, or they always have you on alert whenever you're going to be in their presence or around them. So you're constantly walking on eggshells. And when you're in that kind of mode, yeah, you leave and you have complex PTSD. And so you find yourself, you know, and I've said it many times, you find yourself in such a heightened state that you can hear a feather drop and it wakes you up. Literally wakes you up. I remember being at home one time, and I had been speaking to a friend of mine on the phone until relatively late. It was maybe like 10:30, 11. And I remember coming off the phone, and we'd been talking about, this was like when I kind of was still in that, I guess, 6 to 9 month window. We'd been talking about different stuff to do with narcissism and all that kind of stuff, and I felt like I was in a good place. But for some reason, that conversation on that day, that night, I was on my own. Like there was something that triggered in me, and all of a sudden I started to feel anxious, right? And then I'd had I'd been writing stuff in my diary at the time, just to journal, which is a fantastic thing. And I remember looking for the journal, because what I was journaling was all of these type of feelings, so that I could, when I was in a better state, look back and see, oh, actually, Bianca, that was a moment. That wasn't how you really feel. That was you having an anxiety attack. So I was looking for the diary to write something in. I couldn't find the diary. Then I have gone into the kitchen or something, and the window was open. I don't remember opening the window. So I can't find my diary now. The window's open. Just come out of a narcissistic relationship 69 months ago. So what do I naturally think, having PTSD? The person has broken into my house, opened the window, and stolen my diary. Lo and behold, 15 minutes later, I found it. I closed the window, I checked every room, locked every window, double locked the door, all this type of stuff. I found the diary. But I'm still in such a heightened state, I'm sure this person has broken in. So I'm writing in my diary and saying, you know, I'm writing this to calm down, all of this type of stuff, and this is how I feel, this is what's just happened. And then I wrote in the diary, okay, and now this journaling has been good, and now I'm going to go to sleep. Now, the next day I got up and I thought, you have to write the real reason you were able to go to sleep there. Because in the diary, it looked like I went to sleep because all this journaling had worked, and then I just fell asleep. No, what happened was I was very, very tired, and it was about 4 a.m. by this time. And I just thought to myself, well, I am going to die tonight because the person's going to come back and kill me. But because I've already written it in a diary, at least people will know who it was. And that's the only reason why I was able to go to sleep, because I thought, well, they're going to get caught and, you know, that's it. But that's the kind of, like, you genuinely think people are going to kill you. That person is going to kill you. And you have these kind of episodes, and it's very hard to explain them because they come from nowhere. It could be something like that. So open, because you will forget a lot of things. You'll forget foods in the oven. You'll forget frying pans on. You'll forget where you're going. Do you get what I mean? So when you forget these things, you then start panicking, thinking, did I really do that or didn't I? Like, what? Yeah. You question everything, literally.
Yeah,
it's horrific going through that kind of mental torture.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people experience those kinds of symptoms, you know, like sleepless nights. I know, like, sleeping was such a massive issue to me. Nightmares, flashbacks, like, like flashbacks where, you know, I couldn't work, I couldn't leave the house, I couldn't sleep, I was just exhausted. And I think a lot of people experience those things, but they don't necessarily know it's PTSD, or, you know, if you are experiencing any of the things that we've spoken about, it's good to research, maybe go to your doctor. When I went to my doctor and got diagnosed with it, you know, they were able to give me sleeping tablets, they were able to offer me help, therapy, things like that. So if you experience those type of things me and Bianca have spoken about, I would definitely reach out to your doctor and see what they can do for you.
Yeah. I mean, as well, I think, like, when we look at surviving, maybe that would be good for you to think about as well, like, and explain, like, what did that look like, surviving, in terms of, like, having the outside support. For everyone watching, hello, and yeah, what as well, you know, like, what did surviving look like for you? If you can relate to any of the things that we're saying in terms of surviving, then just throw up a little heart emoji. Feel confident enough to share, then yeah, please share. Your comments really help as well, everybody else who's watching, and help us to build actually a community where we share these things with each other, so that we don't feel that shame, and actually we can feel more empowered that, oh, you know what, it's not just me, and there's other people out there who've been through what I've been through, and yeah, can actually relate, you know, because I think that's important. Yeah, go on,
yeah, so just, if any of those things, even if you Google CPTSD, because I know I didn't know what it was. If you Google it, there's loads of YouTube videos out there on it. Just Google the symptoms, and if you relate to it, there is help out there for you if you're experiencing those things. I know for me, it was a lot of therapy I had to go through, and yeah, and with time, it does fade. You know, when I was in that stage, I thought I was never gonna get out. I thought I could never leave the house. I thought I was never gonna get a full night's sleep. But I wouldn't sleep. I would sleep maybe 2 hours a night. I'll be up again constantly. Every time I would close my eyes, I would have a flashback. and it stopped me from doing so many things. I didn't go to work for 3 months. I didn't see any of my friends. I literally just stayed in my house. I didn't go anywhere. So
Yeah.
if, you know, it can be very, very like limiting. It can restrict you from the world. It's like, you know, but with time and therapy, it really, really helped me get over with that. And it does get better. You don't stay like that forever. You know, it takes time, but with therapy and the right treatment for you, it does get better. And those things fade. I barely get any flashbacks now. And if I do get nightmares or flashbacks, I kind of know how to manage it now. So yeah, just reach out for help, I would say.
Definitely, 100%. Like, and I think as well, it'd be good to kind of go into now, like, what did that look like, steps to thriving? Because I think it's really important to get a bit of people to get a bit of a measure of like what kind of happens in the beginning and then going through, and what things that we proactively done to make sure that we were moving in the direction of healing as well. At this point, if anyone's got any questions as well, please feel free to pop the questions. We'll answer them as well live today. So I think, like, for me, one of the very, very, very first things that I done was to tell the truth to everyone who I hadn't told the truth to. That was really, really key, because I had been texting like selective information, do you get what I mean? And telling one person one thing, another person another thing, but I had never outright come out and said, this person is a narcissist, this is what, you know, I've been subjected to, this is how bad they actually are, and this is how I feel. I hadn't really said that. I'd alluded to little things here and there, but I'd not laid it out in black and white. I know it seemed like a very simple step to maybe an average person who doesn't know about narcissism, but the level of cognitive dissonance that is present when you are going out with a narcissist is severe. You downplay that abuse is phenomenal, not just to everyone else, but to yourself as well. And so to get to that point where you can actually verbalize, this is what is happening, not holding back little bits, not telling people, oh, this bit's bad enough, so I'm not going to tell them everything else. Tell them everything that's happened, and that will start to break the cognitive dissonance you have. So that will force you to not be able to lie to yourself anymore about what's actually happened, okay? And that is crucial when it comes to healing, because it pushes you in a direction of acceptance, which won't face away, but it definitely gives you a push. So I would say, you're on the road and you want to get to that stage of thriving, tell the truth. Tell everyone who you didn't want to tell exactly what's happened, and own that truth.
Yeah, definitely, Bianca. I would agree. That was the first thing I did. I went and told my mom everything. I went and told my family everything. And yeah, like you said, as soon as, you know, people that love you and care about you know, they're going to want to protect you. They're going to want to, you know, keep that person away from you. It's going to be harder for you to go back. And I guess that leads me to my second point of going no contact. That was, I guess, the next step I did was just to completely cut contact with the person, with their family, their friends, all social medias, I changed my phone number, my email address. If I could have moved house, I would have moved house, you know. If I could have moved jobs, I would have moved my job. But everything, you know, everything that I had and owned with that person, I got rid of. You know, in my house, I didn't want to hold that energy anymore. I didn't want triggers. I didn't want reminders. I got rid of like anything that would trigger me, photos, videos on my phone, you know, gifts, anything that has anything to do with the person, their friends, their family, completely cut them off, because I really don't believe you can heal in the same place that you was abused. It will never ever work. It will never, you know, I hear so often, you know, I want to be friends with them and it will work. You know, in a normal healthy relationship, you know, being friends with your ex doesn't usually work in the first, you know, as soon as you break up. Especially in a narcissistic, it's never ever going to work. So I guess telling the truth and completely no contact would be my second one.
Yeah, 100% agree. And then I think the third one is, if you're going to go to thriving, I would say expect the unexpected in terms of emotion, because yes, now you've told your family and friends, no, you block them from everything. Now you feel really empowered and angry, and tomorrow you'll miss them terribly. So expect the unexpected with your emotions. Don't think that this healing process is linear. It's going to be very up and down. You're going to have highs and lows. You're going to hate them and love them simultaneously. And there's going to be a lot of other things that you're going to kind of need to do going forward as well. So I would say expect the unexpected as number 3. And then close to that number 4, when I've other things going to happen, people that are connected to them as well. So this one can be quite difficult for people because they think, oh, you know what, I really like their mom, or I really like this person or that person, but it doesn't matter because, you know, and you've probably got mutual friends. They have to, unfortunately, pick a side or go. There's no middle ground. Your survival, not your survival, your thriving depends on it, okay?
Yeah.
And yeah, actually maybe your survival too, because if you keep them around long enough, they might convince you without them even knowing they've been manipulated to convince you to go back, okay? So get rid of all of the connecting people as well around them. If you want to say, you know what, I just need to do this for a year and a half to get myself on track, if that makes you feel better and you feel more comfortable putting those relationships on pause, then fine, put them on pause just as a starting point. But if I'm really honest, I recommend just completely cutting them off. The ones who were on your side will understand. Do you get what I mean? They'll understand, like, you know what, I get what's happened. I get why you need to stay away from me, and actually I care about you enough to allow you to do that, you know? So yeah, definitely I would say number 4, like, get rid of the, what we call in the world narcissism, flying monkeys as well.
Yeah, absolutely, B. So my next one, number 5, I think would be, like Bianca said, you know, your emotions and your feelings are going to be all over the place. You know, you might develop PTSD, you might be going through some sort of depression, anxiety, you know, you have been through a lot. So these things might come up, right? So what I did was I sought a specialist therapist in that time, because I needed someone to, you know, give me something that was gonna help me understand the situation, but also, you know, tips on how to deal with the physical things that were happening to me, you know, things like panic attacks, anxiety attacks, you know, I'm unable to sleep, things like that. So going to the doctor, I think, you know, they wasn't as helpful as I wanted them to be. But you know, when I found a specialist therapist that specialized in abuse, you know, she really helped me how to manage panic attacks and anxiety, and really explained where it even came from, you know, how I got myself into this situation in the first place, you know, the root cause of how I even got here, why did I stay in this relationship and for so long, and understanding that really helped me, you know, understand the situation, what was happening to me, different terms that I didn't know, and because it was almost like continuous every week, it was consistent, you know, it was almost like, you know, I had someone by my side to check in with, you know, and I know everyone doesn't have therapy or can't afford it, or, you know, but there's other things that can keep you on the track. So I would say when I met Bianca, I joined her female empowerment group, and that was, you know, life-changing for me, because every woman in that group had been in a narcissistic relationship. So even if you can't afford therapy, and, you know, Bianca's group was a quarter of the price of paying for a therapist, you know. So even finding Bianca's group and that group of women just to keep you on track and to keep you going is something that, you know, I really needed. And again, even if you can't afford that, there's Facebook groups, there's Instagram, you know, you just have to type in a hashtag of narcissistic abuse, there's a whole community. But I would definitely say something to keep you on track, like a therapist, a supporting group, a network of women, really helped me. Because yeah, your emotions, the trauma bond, hormones, depression, everything sets in, and you just need someone to say, I understand you, I've been there, like Bianca did with me. Like, just having someone to say, I've been in your shoes and it will get better, you will overcome this, and to keep you going.
100%. And obviously, while we're on topic of groups as well, Aynur are in the process at the moment of formulating like a structure and stuff for a group for you guys as well. So in the coming months, we'll definitely be like releasing information about how you can join our group and what we'll be having going on. But it's definitely like more focused around codependency and like empowerment. And I think that's important as well. So alongside researching narcissism, having a mentor and things like that, you also want to be doing like research on codependency. You also want to be surrounding yourself with people, and I want to put this in the best way possible, but surrounding yourself with people who actually want to move out of these situations. Sometimes you can, when you're in narcissistic relationships, or you're just in a narcissistic family or whatever, you can surround yourself with people who understand you and relate and make it comfortable for you to stay where you are. And you know, there's a lot of forums about narcissism, and there's a lot of different groups and stuff, and I know some of them are really empowering and you know, and some of them there's too much focus spent on just the understanding of it, but not enough focus on, okay, now we understand, what do we need to do to actually get ourselves really out of these situations? And not just with this person, but with anyone. Like, how do we learn to set down boundaries and say no without feeling guilty? How do we learn to put ourselves first without thinking it's selfish? And these are things that people who have been in narcissistic relationships don't understand. They don't understand the importance of putting themselves first. They feel guilty about it. They feel bad about it. And so unless we have the correct tools, we don't know how to get out of these situations. So yes, for myself and for Aynur, like, enough to have the finances, coaches and therapists and groups and stuff like that. Like, you know, not everyone can afford to pay for a therapist or a coach, but actually of groups, like Aynur said, they're much more affordable, and you have that sense of community as well. And I think that's why we wanted to definitely start a group in this area, because we were just like, you know what, something needs to give here. So yeah, look out for information on that. Another thing I would say is that be prepared to feel things more deeply as well, because once you break the cognitive dissonance and once you start really stepping into, you know what, this is what I want in life and this is how I feel, everything intensifies. Not just bad feelings, but good feelings as well. But everything feels very overwhelming and intense, you know? If you're happy, you're so happy you feel like it might be your dying day. Kill me now. If you're for the same, for the opposite. So it's definitely really important to understand that maybe on this road to healing, maybe this is going to be the first time in your life you've ever anything at all, and that can be if you're not prepared for it. So I would definitely say be open to that, because that happens a lot.
Definitely. Just on the back of that, B, it's like you'll have really, really good days and really, really bad days, and that doesn't mean, you know, you're not healing or you've gone backwards or things have stopped or it's not working. You know, it's just like that. It's gonna be, you know, you're gonna be swinging from a bad day to a good day, and then it's just gonna get, you know, until you find your middle point, and then it's gonna stop and everything's gonna level out. But for a period of time, you're gonna be, you know, wake up one day and everything's amazing and I'm healed and I don't care about him, and you know what I mean? Just getting up and you're living your life and you're free, and then the next day you might really, really miss that life. You might really miss that person, and that anger might fade a little bit. But that's just you swinging. You're swinging. As time passes by, the more you heal, you're going to find your middle ground. You're going to start to balance, and things are going to make sense. You're going to have more balanced days. So again, like Bianca said, I would say be prepared for those days, like, and know when you do have a bad day, it's just a bad day. It's not the end of your healing journey. It's not, you're not like, you know, you're not broken and things are wrong. Those are things I used to think. Like, oh my God, I've had a bad day and I'm never going to be healed and I'm going to be like this forever. It's not, because, you know, you do the things that you're going to learn, the tools that you use to recenter yourself, to bring yourself back to calmness, and then you wake up and have a great day. So it's like, be prepared to know how to function on those bad days as well, what to do on those bad days, because you need, you know, tools like journaling, meditation, maybe running, exercise, whatever works for you to get through that bad day and know that there's better days coming. So that's another one I would say, B.
Yeah, 100%. And something just came to my mind as well as you were speaking about that. You were saying about having, knowing you're having bad days. That's what I was going to say. So another thing that I kind of done on the road to thriving was when I felt overwhelming feelings to call, because even if you block someone, you still know their number off by heart, so you know what you can do. And I would have a feeling sometimes to break contact, not even in the mode of like, oh, I want to talk to them in a nice way. Sometimes just to give them a piece of my mind, a piece of shit. Do you get what I mean? That's another reason, but to break that contact. But instead of actually breaking it, what I would do is I would say, okay, if in 48 hours you still feel like it's a good thing to do exactly the same thing you feel to do now, then you can have a think about it then. Never did I go to sleep and wake up and think that exactly this thing was the right thing to do. It didn't happen. You have to give yourself permission to put distance between your thoughts and actions, because up until this point, you haven't been the best at making decisions that are the best for you. You've been great at making decisions that are best for everyone else, but not for yourself. So when you put distance between your decision making, it's not only good for like breaking contact, it's just good for gaining real perspective about what you really want to do with anything. When your friends ask you to go out, pause, give a couple of days and make a decision. Don't keep on reacting. Slow down that part in you that thinks it has to react like that, right? Because that's the kind of mode that you've been used to with narcissists before. They ask for something they want to know yesterday, right now. Do you want to go on holiday tomorrow? Do you want to do this like in 10 minutes? Like, can you get dressed in 2 minutes? It's like, what is going on here? Like, I don't even know what this is. So pause it, slow down, take control back of your life, and put some distance between what some and your response. Okay, so learning to not react is crucial to your survival as well. I would definitely say that's key.
Yeah, definitely be. I think that's something we practice. That's like a tool you can use, is, you know, just to take time, when you get those urges, to take time, and also distraction. And like Bianca said, in 48 hours, you will not 100% will not, feel like that. And those distractions can be, going for a walk, going for a run, calling your friend. If you have that one friend that will knock sense into you, like, what do you think you're doing? You're not going to call that person. That just knocks you back in, and that urge kind of fades away when you realize. And even questioning yourself in those moments, like, if I do contact this person, what's going to happen? Like, realistically, what is going to happen? Is it going to make me feel better? Probably not. What benefits are going to come from this? Nothing. You're going to have to start no contact all over again. It's really about, even if you have those questions jotted down somewhere, questioning yourself and going through them each and every time you get those urges, and distracting yourself in those moments. And then as time goes past, you won't need them, because those urges won't come to you. It'll be so ingrained in your mind that you don't want to do this, that it won't even come to you. So that's definitely one. And then I think after all of that, it's really start to invest in yourself, and starting to get to know who you are again, I think was probably the next step for me. Because when I came out that relationship, it was very, very controlling in terms of, who I was as a person. I basically wasn't allowed to be myself, and when you're in those types of relationships for so long, I was in there for maybe nearly 6 years. So I had no clue what I liked, how to dress, how to do my hair. I didn't know like who I was. I didn't like, who was I? What did I like to do? What food did I like to eat? Like, can I go out with my friends now? Can I go, like, can I enjoy, what do I enjoy anymore? What's my hobbies? Like, you know, I really had to get to know myself. And, you know, it was weird at first. It was weird going to places and feeling like, oh, maybe this person, you know, not feeling like I wasn't allowed still, or, you know, maybe putting on some heels and being like, I can wear heels now. You know, it was weird for a period of time, but slowly I was like, I think when that day hit where I was like, oh my God, like, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. I can, you know, if I want to go out in heels at 9 o'clock in the morning, I can go out in heels. Like, no one's going to say anything to me. I can do what I want. So again, I think, you know, I used to do stupid things. I would look into my star sign and be like, oh my God, is this what I am? Like I'm an Aries. So I'd be like, this is what I'm like, an Aries, or I was born on this day. So I would just really got to know who I was as a person and what I enjoyed, and tried new things. So again, I think probably the next step after that was just rediscovering myself.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it definitely leads to like now, and that's the point. Like, okay, set the goals now. Do you get what I mean? Like, get a coach. And you know what? You know, my life is like worlds apart from where it is now. Like, for me, like, now thriving looks like 2 businesses, a fiance, very happy life. That when I want to, when it's not locked down, like I do what I want. You know, I'm in a relationship where I'm actually valued and respected. I also have that same respect for them. And yeah, I just think that my life is just completely different than it was before. And what I want is different. And I think that, you know, when you're on that brink of reaching that stage of thriving, your whole outlook of what you want and what you understand about relationships changes. Who you're attracted to changes. What you're attracted to changes. Just your general outlook on life is like completely different. Interestingly as well, because we're going to do a little a review next week on Bridgerton, right? And so like we're going to watch that, and like, because everyone's been going wild over these characters in there, but we're going to give our perspective on like, what do we think of these characters? Like, is anyone a narcissist in there? Who's showing up codependently? Like, all of these. I think that's what for me thriving looks like. I'm very happy, vibrant. I know who I am. I don't compromise on it. Yeah, and I just live in an empowered state, and to me, I just think it's, you know, we can sit here and you'll hear throughout our whole series, there's so many different things that me and Aynur have experienced, but I wouldn't change one of them, because the power I have is different now. It's different. Do you get what I mean? Like, you just move differently when you come out of these relationships, and not only have you survived it, but you've moved to a state of thriving. You're a different touchable. Do you get what I mean? And I think that's what for me it looks like. What does thriving look like for you, A?
Oh my goodness, it's I don't know where to start. It's just being, you know, so happy for once, so happy, so thankful, so having boundaries now to protect myself, you know, having the education to know what these type of people are like, almost being able to see them everywhere. And knowing I can protect myself, you know, and knowing that, you know, I will never get myself back into that situation again, because I now know what it is. I know, you know, I have the boundaries to protect myself. I can do what I want now, you know. I know, you know, anything is possible. After I think you've come out and survived that, you just feel like anything in life is possible. After I've survived that, I can do anything. Just being, you know, like Bianca said, I wouldn't change anything, because I can now relate to so many women and men that have been in that situation. I can, you know, have them, you know, talk for hours and hours on it, and I can, you know, can share advice. And it's just, yeah, really knowing myself now and loving myself, and you know, my mum always says this, you know, my mum's got this saying, and she says, you know, I didn't find my kids on the floor, so why would anyone, you know, you are a queen, you are, you know, a precious, beautiful human being. Like, I didn't find my kids on the floor. How dare anyone, you know, treat my child like that, you know? And I really, now I hear those words and I'm like, no one is ever treated me like that ever again. So it's about having those boundaries. I think that was probably the biggest thing for me, is having boundaries and protecting myself, and yeah, just being really happy now and knowing that, yeah, it's never ever going to go back to the way it was before. And being able to tell people, you know, I was low, I was suicidal, I was down here, like the worst it can get, and there's a way out, you know. And I feel like a lot of people, even me, I didn't believe there was a way out, but to say to people there is a way out, there's things you can do, there's people you can work with, it happens to so many women and men, like, you will get through this, is, I think, is such a blessing to have that to say is a very big blessing for me.
100%, and I'm sure loads of people can relate. We're starting a new thing this week as well, our question time. So to close, and thank you so much to everyone who's watching, but to close off for the day, we're going to do a little question time with me and A. We're going to be answering a question for you. So yeah, that'll be super duper fun. Okay, so what was our best moment when we experienced leaving a narcissistic relationship? So for me, do you know what? Like, there were many, but my best, I think, proper, like, up yours to that narcissistic relationship was when we started this series last year. Because it's all well and good being personally empowered, but literally to go online, like, yeah, screw you. Do you get what I mean? Like, I'm not scared of you. I'll say what the hell I want about who I want, because you're full of shit anyway. I mean, livid for that. So that for me was definitely the best bit, where I was like, okay, there's being empowered, and then it's taking your power back and every single bit of power away from those people who are threatening you with these stupid smear campaigns. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And I think for me, that moment was like, yeah, okay, bring it. I don't care. Do you get what I mean? And so that for me was like best moment.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, like you, there's so many. But I would say one of my favorite was actually meeting Bianca. and it was just, you know, finding someone in the world, like, you know, I can only thank God, because only God makes these type of things happen, you know. Finding someone that had been through exactly the same thing as me, you know, was further ahead in their healing journey, but could guide me. And, you know, she had her group, and it was someone to almost look up to and be like, okay, Bianca got through this, I can do this, I can get through this. And that's why I think, you know, it's so important to have someone or a group or someone you can look at and be like, okay, you got through this, I can do this, I can take these steps, I can use these tools. If I keep going, I'm going to get there eventually. If it takes me a year, if it takes me 2 years, I'm going to get there. So I think that was definitely one of my favorites. But also starting this with Bianca was amazing as well.
Yeah, defo. And like, just talking about how God intervened, even the way we met was crazy. Like, I was doing a workshop on goal setting and like getting your goals ready for the year. Aynur's sister, who is like now my sister, little sister Hattie, happened to just go there on her own, because she's like a little boss girl, like, I don't care, I'm going to this workshop on my own. I obviously delivered the workshop there. She had a great time and was like, oh my God, my sister would like be so good with you. She put me in contact with you, and then the rest is history. So literally, like, if you're willing to make this happen, the whole world will conspire to support you. Absolutely. You just need to be open to that support, you know? Absolutely. And that's, I think, like a good little good little closing note for today. And we hope that we've inspired you to know that, like, yes, you may be in the situations we were talking about early on, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, for sure, for 100%,
sure. 100%. I always say, if I can do it, anyone can do it. If I can get through it, anyone can.
Yes. 100%. Thank you so much for coming back again, guys. Like, if you've got to this part of the show, then we presume that you like it. So please like, comment, share with a friend, share on your Instagram as well, subscribe to our channel because we come back every single Monday. Hit the notification bell and you'll be alerted every single time we go live. But also the recording will be there as well for you to watch back as many times as you want to get you to where you need to get to with your healing. And yeah, join us next week on Monday at 8 o'clock as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.